Hello. Hello, world. How are you all doing? Well, it's 2026, believe it or not. In fact, it's almost a third of the way through, which means it's time for the latest. Now, that's Raku Music. One, two, three. Woo! Now, it's 6 years since I've been doing these because I started doing these reviews in lockdown in 2020, and a lot of people were wondering if this album was even going to come out, but here it is. Here I am still. I always wonder if I'm going to bother doing a review of each new one. But I have a listen through, and I always find something to say. Above all, though, it's about a dialogue. It's about we, as a society, deciding what we think of these songs and which ones we think are going to go on and become all-time lasting classics versus the here today, gone tomorrow ones. Some maybe that are so bad they're kind of comical. Above all, I really love to know what you guys think, and I really appreciate the comments. And if you're a viewer but you've not commented yet, feel free. Even if you disagree with what I say, it's absolutely fine. It's all about music, and the main thing is to say why you think what you think. If you don't like something, it's always interesting to know what you think's wrong with it. And if you do like something, again, it's always interesting to know what you like about it. In this case, this is one of those songs where it's what I call a curate's egg. I kind of like it, I kind of don't. I do way more than I don't. I'll start with the negatives so I can end with the positives. The negative to me is the voice. It's just a bit simpering. I say in all these videos, I really don't like that kind of simpering girl vocal. Not my kind of thing. It's been done to death, and I thought it was getting a bit passé. So, it's not bad, but it's just a bit simpering. Now, the good is the music. It's absolutely lovely. It's really good music. It's very 60s. It's almost as 1966 as it is 2026. It's got that kind of Bacharach and David lounge vibe, Dion Warwick or something. Full band instrumentation, and it's lovely. And yeah, the more I listen to it, the more the voice kind of eases into the music successfully. So yeah, it's a good opener, and we follow it up with Sabrina Carpenter. When did you get hot? Oh, Sabrina, I got hot for you about 3 or 4 songs ago. I found you a bit simpering at first, but something changed, and I definitely found that your music got better and better. The last 2 songs were really good. This one's maybe not quite as good, but it's not so bad. It's called When Did You Get Hot? Now, another thing I'll say about Sabrina is at least she does sort of double entendres, tears running down her whatever. Some people on this can barely stretch to a single entendre. We'll get to them later. So Sabrina, yeah, lovely Sabrina. It's kind of a bit more modern, a bit less obviously retro. But it's yeah, it's really it's kind of R&B-ish in groove. I wouldn't say it's an R&B vocal. It's kind of a bit Britney-ish in a way. I like some of the splashy synth sounds on it. So not bad at all. Tate, however, she's too simpering. Music doesn't elevate it. Tit for tat. It is tat, and she's a tit. Tit tat Tate, I call that one. So we'll skip right over that. I don't want to be negative. The best way I can slate a record is just to skip right over it. Let's come to the Pink Pantheress and an uncredited Zara Larsson, Stateside. Now, Pink Pantheress' stuff has always been kind of sort of two-steppy. This one's got a bit more of a 4/4 kind of groove. I'll stick it on. It's not like a heavy pounding 4/4 as such. It's quite gentle. And it's got some really good kind of computer game chiptune kind of bleeps on it. They're cool. Yeah, not bad at all, really. And he doesn't really sing it too simperingly. So yeah, this one's alright. Justin Bieber follows with Yukon. Now, Justin Bieber's resurgence has been something to behold, really, because it's been really different from what you'd normally expect. He seems to have gone out of his way to have gone kind of very lo-fi and obscure. I actually really like it, and I way prefer it to old school Bieber stuff, This one, yeah, it's just got these kind of lazy, languid guitar strums No percussion other than what sounds like someone actually tapping a guitar with a hand. And what's really interesting is he's almost had a kind of vocal sex change. He's pitched up the vocals a bit, not to chipmunk levels, but just to the point where he does actually sound like a woman, which is quite strange. Justine Bieber, maybe. By the way, this Pink Pantheress one, this is a bit like a Freak Like Me. Let me lay it on the line. Got a little freakiness inside. So compare and contrast. That's Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson, followed by Justine Bieber. And then we follow that one with Dominic Pike. Now, wasted opportunity here, and another trope that I referred to before, misplaced rapping by people who aren't rappers outside hip-hop or hip-hop adjacent music, really not working. And this is a really good example. He cannot rap properly. It's basically an indie rock song. It would be a great indie rock song if it was just allowed to be an indie rock song. Putting this blundering attempt at rapping doesn't work. I am a fan of mixing up different genres, and you can mix stuff up, but the thing about an experiment is sometimes it doesn't work. And this is one of them. I'd call it a failed experiment. Tame Impala, talking of staying in your lane, Tame Impala is a band based around a guy called Kevin Parker, been around for ages and ages, and generally filed under psychedelic rock. But this is only rock in the sense that Maroon 5 make rock. It's very processed, very almost boy band, really not psychedelic. It's about as psychedelic as a Sanatican multivitamin pill. It's not bad, but it feels like a real sellout, and it's way different to the kind of classic Tame Impala stuff. Yeah, a bit weird. Better is Tyler, and this one is called Chanel. Do you remember we had that one about Christian Dior? And I said, listen to Sparks, Perfume. The same applies here, really, with Tyler and Chanel. The music's nice. It's quite kind of experimental. And it's quite nice. So that's all right. Zara comes back properly now. And I'll stick this one on. Zara Larsson and Midnight Sun. Now, she is one of a long line of singers who really wasn't great at first, but just got better and better and had that moment. I call it the Rita Ora moment, like Rita Ora with anything, where she went from being awful to like literally one of the best, probably in my top 5, top 10 songs ever recorded anywhere. Can't Tame Her was Zara's Rita Ora moment. Maybe not quite as good, but still an absolutely blindingly good song. And she's been good ever since, really. This is good. It's good in a different way. It's not retro in any way. It's modern. It's got nice kind of almost D&B adjacent beat, kind of broken breaks, nice heavy kick drum and some good rumbling bass. Got a good strong melody as well. So yeah, very good. Now we go to the kind of full-on dance section. More Grab and Milky with Just the Way You Are. They've definitely been on the Disco Biscuits. Is it hard house? Is it happy hardcore? Is it bouncy techno? Whatever it is, it's got lots of old school pianos and frantic beats and quite a dreamy vocal. Slightly set back, which is quite good. Not too over in your face. But the next 3, I call a real trinity now of really good dance songs. I'm going to try and play a bit of all of them. So probably not going to play too much of each. But nice bit of Zara Larsson there, Midnight Sun. Here are MK and Clementine Douglas, both of who I'm sure have made a song of the album before. Come Find Me. Yeah, it's really chunky. It's textbook production. And it's all about balance and equilibrium, this sort of stuff. Nothing is over prominent. Everything's just in its place. And it's really crisp and funky. Got some classic club elements and some kind of new stuff. And again, it's got some good dreamy vocals from Clementine. I'm just going to put in a little plug here for my own project, which I really want to get on now. Check out highway62.co.uk, Highway 62, and our new song. I'm working with a brilliant singer, and I think we're getting towards the level of getting something on the club section of a Now album. As long as they keep making Now albums, no my luck, we'll get there just as they stop doing it. But that's where we're going anyway. my own attempt to get on one of these. You know, it's all well and good reviewing other people, but you got to do it yourself. And I think if you like this, MK, you'll probably like our new song, Watch This Space. Also, in a similar wheelhouse, we have Sonny Fodera, DOD, and Poppy Bascom. Now, do you remember when Time to Burn and Zombie Nation came out? You'd always find those two songs next to each other. They would always appear on mixes together or on compilations and stuff. I figure it's the same with these. These would mix together absolutely perfectly. Think About Us. It's cut from very similar cloth. Sonny Fodera, again, no stranger to Song of the Album. And this is a nice twin to that previous song. It's got some really good synths on it as well, which even have an ever so slightly, almost accidental Indian feel. Or maybe I'm just imagining it. Not Bhangra or anything, it's just something about them. Makes me think of that. Weird. But it works. It works like an absolute dream. As does a very strange collab now. One of my little tropes. I must say, this video's got so many of my tropes. If you watch my old videos, I come up with these talking points. And one of them is the custard and mustard culture clash moment, where two opposites, the thesis and the antithesis, form a synthesis. Sometimes they work horribly, sometimes they work like a dream, where you get two different elements from kind of opposing worlds and they collab. In this case, it's Calvin Harris, absolutely from this world, pop, commercial dance. He's been on these nows for, well, pretty much 20 years, and he's not really put a foot wrong. He's absolutely consistent. He must have been at least 75 of these albums, I reckon, at least. And he teams up with someone from a very different world, Kasabian. Well, I don't know if it's the whole band or just the singer, because it only really sounds like the vocals, Serge Pisorno. So it's Kasabian from the world of indie and Calvin from the world of commercial dance, and it works really, really well. Should we get a bit of it on? It's got what used to be called a re-space line. I don't know if they're still called that. I'd be really cruel if I was to stop this before the drop. Just let you get the build up. It's good, isn't it? Whoa! Good visuals as well. Yeah. Alright. Let's go from that one into Calvin and Kasabian. Release the Pressure. Okay, trivia fans. Who in 1996 had a song called Release the Pressure? I don't think it made her now. They made her now with other stuff. Not that one. Release the Pressure. Left field. But this is not that one. It's good though. It's really good. It's custard and mustard on the same plate, but it works. Bit of indie and a bit of almost trance, really. Yeah. Normally, I prefer kind of female vocals on this stuff, but in this case, I think it's a good experiment and it works well. Yeah. Now, Ewan McVicker follows, not Ewan McCall, who was Kirsty McCall's dad, did the Manchester Rambler. Ewan McVicker, Share the House. Do you remember back on about Now 11 when house music first came in and every song had the word house in it? Doctor in the House. What was it? The House That Jack Built. Who's in the House? Was that on a Now? It was about that time. Here's another one. And it feels really late 80s somehow. I'll get a bit of it on. Ewan McVicker. Yeah, it almost feels like kind of Beatmasters or Cold Cut or Bomb the Bass or someone. The vocals talking about house. And again, it's got a kind of 80s vibe, how she sings it. Quite late 80s. It's got an 80s snare. But it's obviously modernised. And it's pumped up. I would say I wish the vocals had more than just these two lines. It's just repeated over and over again. And they could have maybe done something more with it. Or put another kind of thing in. Alright, leave the vocals there now. You made your point. They overkill it a bit. So it's quite an interesting one, this. It really is. There's tools where you can get rid of the vocals. I do that quite often. And there's probably an instrumental mix anyway. And I like some of the vocal. Yeah, she's still doing it. It's too much. Alright. That's Ewan McVicker, Share the House. I'm just sharing a criticism. Right, yeah, that's better now. Yeah, that's cool. It's quite interesting sounds on it. Yeah. So there's more to like than dislike on this one. Kato featuring John Follows with Turn the Lights Off. Do you remember? I'm sure you do. It wasn't that long ago. Lionheart, Joel Corey. This is kind of similar to that. Maybe not quite as gung ho as that. A bit more kind of, just sort of a bit not lackluster, but just not quite as oomphy. It's still alright. It's still quite well produced, and it's solid rather than dazzling, let's say. Now, a contender for Song of the Album. Another one, in fact. We've had a few, but slightly different. Let's go over to Louis Tomlinson, who's not been on one of these for an awful long time. I know, that's Kano. We don't want that. We want a bit of this one. Louis Tomlinson, Imposter. So yeah, basically, imposter syndrome. I like a bit of psychology. I like lyrics that deal with sort of psychological stuff. It's always quite interesting. Imposter syndrome. I'm not sure if that's specifically made a now before lyrically. Here it is, and it's quite a nice contrast from all the kind of big I am stuff you normally get with sort of singers. So I like the lyrical conceit to it. I also really like the music. I like that chimey organ sound, and I really like the chord progression. Some really interesting chords here, quite dark, almost kind of ominous in a way. And you know me, another trope for me is I like my space choirs. This has its share coming towards the end. They give it a kind of epic quality. So yeah, I'm impressed by this one. I really do like it. It's a good song. Yeah. December 10, not so good. Angel, very kind of boy bandy. If you like things like Westlife, you probably like it. Nothing really wrong with it, just not my bag. Lewis Capaldi, he makes a return, and his song is called Almost. Well, guess what? It's another ballad. It's got drums all the way through this one. They don't, sometimes these take a while to come in. He doesn't really shout it too badly, so it's pretty good. There's Almost. Now, he's playing locally to me in around here in North Leeds soon. So if I open my window, I'll probably hear him shouting away. Lewis Capaldi. Couple more now. Cat Burns, who was dreadful to start with, then suddenly got very good with, what was it, People Pleaser, which I really liked, and then just disappeared off the face of the earth. She's back with There's Just Something About Her. It's adequate. Bit mediocre, maybe. It's very radio. It ticks all the boxes, I suppose. It's not something you'd really remember, but it's light years ahead of the last song on this side, and for that reason I'll leave this side, or this half, with the sounds of Cat Burns, because there's no way on earth I'm playing Lily Allen. It took everything I had to even listen to it. I did, because you have to, and I got about 30 seconds in and I was like, yeah, alright. Not for me, but the guitar was okay. The sort of Latino guitar. And then I turned it off. I thought, I've heard enough. And then I thought, well, no, I haven't heard enough. I better listen through. And then, I don't know, it was some Lily psychodrama about some guy. Listen, guys, don't go out with Lily, because she will just take everything you do and she'll put it into the song, and she'll totally belittle you publicly and make out like everything that goes wrong is your fault and she's done nothing wrong. And this one kind of leaves off from things like Not Fair and all that. It's just a bit of a joke, really. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe I'm not the audience, but I like stuff that transcends. That even if you're not the audience, you still pick up on something good about it. And I think Olivia Dean can do that. And I think Sabrina Carpenter can do that. But I don't think Lily Allen can. And she certainly hasn't on this. Transcend your demographic. Appeal to people who don't normally like that kind of thing, but like it because it's a good song. And that's what I'm looking for. Anyway, that's the first half, and there is definitely some transcendental moments there. I think the best, actually, probably, was Louis Tomlinson and Imposter. I think that's got the most all-round stuff going on there. Good lyrics, good vocals, good music, good production. Everything about it's good. The club ones I really like as club songs. Maybe if you're not into club music, they don't transcend in the same way. But if you do like your club stuff, you really can't go wrong with MK, Sonny Fodera, Calvin Harris. And yeah, Ewan McVicker, I think I overdid the vocals, but the music was interesting. Like I say, Olivia a bit simpering, but music was very good. Sabrina, pretty good. No Time for Tape. Like Pink Panthers. Really impressed with this new Bieber stuff. Dominic was ruined by the kind of rapping thing. Tame Impala seemed very commercial for them. Tyler was alright. Zara was good. December, meh. Lewis, good. Cat, the good side of meh. I mean, it's alright, isn't it? It's not too bad. And Lily, no. Right, onwards. Now we move over to the second half. And Sienna Spyro kicks things off with Die on This Hill. This one goes out to the people of Calderdale. So it's I think it's a new voice for now. Someone will tell me if she's already been on one. You'd be forgiven for thinking, based on this beginning, and it was just a sort of cookie cutter simpering girl again for about the millionth time. And I was about to kind of write it off. But then something happens. About 50 seconds in, she goes, and suddenly her whole singing style changes. And from that point onwards, I'm on board. I really am. Wait for it. One of the best mms. Here it is. Yeah. So, it's a real builder. It's a slow builder of a song. And she does hit some really, really good high notes in it. So definitely worth going with it. It's kind of halfway between Billie Eilish and Lola Young, I suppose. I would say the vocal melody itself is pretty threadbare. You don't really notice it because of the technique. So it kind of masks its shortcomings fairly well. That's an interesting one. Die on This Hill from Sienna Spyro. Now we follow that one up with Olivia Dean making her second appearance. This one is called A Couple Minutes. Now, again, I find the music is absolutely great. Really, really good. Really lush. Very kind of organic sounding. Like a really good band. It's very dreamy, laid back, jazzy stuff. And she's kind of nice as a singer. I just feel that she's not really engaging with the material emotionally, and I wonder if she's maybe not quite mature enough just to be doing this kind of stuff. Technically it's $1 million, but I feel like she needs to live and love a bit more, IRL, have her heart broken a few times, and then come back with this sort of stuff. At the moment, I just think she sounds a bit disengaged, a bit bored, which is a shame, because, she's got potential, and the music and her musical decision making is really good. She's definitely got quality control when it comes to the music. Just work on yourself, work on your vocals, and keep going. That's what I would say. That's Olivia Dean. Now, Skye Newman, FUNUF. What was that I was saying about single entendres and double entendres? Oh dear. You see, there's an awful lot of people have been worse song 1 month or 1 volume and then really done better on subsequent volumes. It is something that happens, and I would say it's actually quite an honour if I pick you as worst song on an album, because it means you've had an impact and you've caused a reaction. And that happened with Lola Young. She was worst song and then immediately best song with the next one. What was the difference? I think Lola won me round because of the actual songwriting and musical chops. It's actually really good music, and it's got real emotion. I don't think this Skye one is. It's stiffer, it hasn't got a very good groove. I'm not really convinced. It's just, it's sort of second rate really. It's not like the real deal. So I feel a bit guilty saying that. But I would have to say to her, use a bit more metaphor, So combine sex and travel right off, please. Skye Newman. Lana Del Rey. I'm going to play this one. White Feather Hawk, Tail Deer Hunter. This song is kind of ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. It's really silly. But then says Kate Bush when you break it down, and no one really had a problem with her. Me neither. So sometimes you could be silly, and that's just what the doctor ordered. This is definitely intriguing and magical, and it's got these kind of whoopsie vocals. It's definitely different to anything else I've ever heard from Lana Del Rey. Yeah, why not indeed? Now we follow this one with Role Model, and the song is called Sally When Wine Runs Out. There was a great song called Sally Go Round the Roses by the Canettes. Very interesting song, that one. Check that out. I wonder if this is the same Sally. Anyway, it kind of ups the tempo a bit from this very slow and kind of almost classical thing. And it's back into the realms of country, folky, Americana stuff. That's Role Model. The melody's good and the chorus stands out well. It's got an easygoing production that fills the room. But it's got one of those silly raps that I keep talking about, if you can even call it a rap. Towards the end, it's probably even more egregious an example than the Dominic Fikes one earlier. Of just, it doesn't suit the music. You add nothing to that genre. You can't really do it very well. You don't need it. So I'll be editing that out of my own copy. A few snips and Audacity and it'll be gone forever. Okay, Role Model. We follow that with Noel Khan, and he doesn't need to do any silly raps. Nice solid country rock, ever so slightly harder than his normal fare. Kind of getting along towards the lines of Sam Fender. Talking of whom, speak of the devil, here is Sam with Mr. Elton John on piano, I think, more than vocals on this particular one. Sam really hasn't put a foot wrong. I don't know if I've ever made him song of the album. He's always been ever so close. And this is another one that's an absolute contender for song of the album. It's just great. It's really good. It's really soulful. As you can imagine, with Elton, it's got amazing piano. Now, it did look like he was on the verge of maybe getting a bit overproduced and putting too many string parts on one of his songs. He's not done that here. It's all the guitars and pianos that add that kind of lush texture. Yeah, it's just a great song. Really, really good. As always, a lot of people like Sam, and I'm part of that Fender fan club, if you like. So Sam Fender and Elton John. Right, okay. Now, we don't have Ella, Texas, from Langley, near Slough. We have Ella Langley, who is choosing Texas. Yeah, not Ella, Texas, choosing Langley. Anyway, I actually went to Texas, and I think I talked about it because it was around about now 50, 52 maybe, and I did mention it, and I said that around that time I was listening to stuff like PPK, Resurrection, a bit of Tiesto and stuff, Paul Van Dyke, much more than I was listening to this kind of stuff. But you know what? Now, in the cold light of day, I think this is nice. I think my dad would have really liked this one. I must say, yeah, when I did the first batch of his, Dad was still listening to music in the intervening years. He passed away in 2022, but he left me his musical taste, I think. He would have really liked that one, so that one goes out to Dad. Ella Langley, choosing Texas. Luke Combs keeps the country and folk thing going. It's funny, isn't it? If you went back to, say, I don't know, even just 10 years ago, 2016, and you looked at the nails from that era, the nearest you get to guitar music in those days was like a Coldplay song, maybe Maroon 5, even that. Who would have predicted a decade from now we'd be all over this stuff? There'd be half a side, if not a whole side, dedicated to this sort of thing. And I've got to say that Luke Combs' entry is another contender for Song of the Album. It's great. It's really, really good. Sleepless in a Hotel Room. It's just organic. It's unpretentious. It's soulful. And very listenable. Now, maybe not so good. Westlife, Chariot. It really sounds like every Avicii song and every George Ezra song and every Miles Smith song all thrown in a blender. It's really nothing you've not heard. It's that kind of cod, kind of sort of slightly sing-alongy, slightly Celtic-ish kind of thing, but it's meh. Now, two people that I did not expect to be talking about this year, and I'm really glad to see them both again. Gabrielle, Lady Gabrielle, she's back. And JP Cooper, who maybe didn't quite register on the public radar quite as much as Gabrielle, but he had his moments. I think he even made Song of the Album with Passport Home. That was about 10 years ago now. Blimey, how time flies. Here he is with Gabrielle, and it's we'll get it stacked up. Bit of Sam Fender and Elton there, and here is JP and Gabrielle. I really like Gabrielle's stuff. As we went through all the albums, I realised just how many great songs she'd done. JP not done that many, but quality, not quantity. What's really good about this is he knows his role, and he plays it perfectly. I think Gabrielle is an absolute revelation on this, and I think he's probably surprised by anyone just how great he is. And she kind of steals the show. There's almost something like a softer kind of Tina quality to her voice, and I reckon she could give Olivia Dean some amazing lessons in how to really sing kind of jazzy stuff. It's a compliment to JP that Gabrielle steals the show, because he allows her to very gallantly. He basically does what he needs to do to augment her voice and make it a great duet. Remember when we had that Whitney remake? Was it Callum Scott or someone? And I said that he blundered all over her voice. He was far too loud, and it just seemed kind of disrespectful. This is the opposite. JP is perfectly respectful of Gabrielle here. He really does just, give her a space to do what she does. And it's a nice song. They've got a really lovely chemistry. It's fantastic. I wouldn't say it's maybe song of the album, but it's definitely up there. Right. Yeah. December the 10th or whatever. December 10. Ruin My Way. No, it's actually Run My Way. You ever see With Nell and I? Remember what Danny said? They're selling hippie wigs in Woolworths, man. The end of the hippie dream. Does this song mark the end of the D&B dream, do you think? Is this the moment that D&B officially became teeny bopper music? From its origins with Goldie and LTJ Bookham. It now sounds like a backing music for the Osmonds or someone. I do get what's going on here. It kind of makes me cringe, and it really makes me want to go off and mix some noisier or Bilane or aggressive bunks or something. But I kind of give it grudging credit, because someone had to do this. D&B for the under 10s. Someone had to do it. And this has kind of gone, even people like Fresh, when they went commercial, they were still a million times more connected to kind of D&B than this. But it is what it is. It has got that break, that groove. It's just, adapted for sort of kindergarten music. That's December 10. Right. There's a couple here that I'm going to skim over, and I'm going to get one lined up. A couple of songs down the line. Miles Smith, I was just talking about him with Niall Horan, who's another one who does that really similar kind of rousing, Celtic-y kind of stuff. I must say, all these singers are kind of starting to sound the same, the male singers, more than the female singers. Robbie follows that one. It's kind of like emasculated Oasis, but I guess he always was, so plus ça change. That's All My Life. And this one, Jessie Ware. I could get used to this. I think of all the female singers, if not all the singers of all genders, Jessie's probably got the actually nicest voice to listen to of all of them by a country mile. Now musically, this kind of reminds me a bit of that Calvin Harris and Sam Smith stuff. It's very opulent, lush, light disco, and it's kind of in absolutely the same vein as her previous songs like Kiss of Life. I really like her. I think she's very, very good. And this is great, yeah. I could get used to this. She's definitely got her niche, and she does something that no one else does. She does it damn well. Fair play. Okay, we're coming towards the final few now. Holly Humberston, she came along and then disappeared again. The song is called To Love Somebody, and I'm sure Now experts will know there was a song called To Love Somebody on Now 18 by Jimmy Somerville. Well, this isn't that one. So it's kind of back to simple mode a bit, to a certain extent, and I was kind of thinking, it's not as good as Jessie. But just as I was about to skip it, this nice shuffle groove came in, and that kind of locked me into the music at least. And Holly starts to do this kind of nice rhythmically fast way of singing without actually going into quote rap unquote. And I really like that. I think that's a much better way of doing it. You can still have a kind of cadence that you'd get with, rap, but you can still do it in a way that still feels like it's singing and doesn't break or flow. Now, there's a bit where she says it all breaks down, and that sounds really a bit like Placebo's Nancy Boy, to the point where it can't just be coincidence. It's kind of like a little Easter egg, that. So there you go, Holly Humberstone. Right, funny one now. Very funny one. It's Cat's Eye, Internet Girl. Well, if you like things like Barbie Girl, Selfie, and maybe Scooter and that kind of thing, you'll probably like this. I've talked throughout the series about this book from the late 80s by the KLF, Bill Drummond, called The Manual, How to Have a Number One the Easy Way. And it kind of still applies as much as it ever did, even though that's like, wow, nearly 40 years ago. Blimey. This song still follows that paradigm, really. It's an obvious attempt to have a kind of hit record. It's obviously obnoxious. It knows it's obnoxious. It's vaguely amusing. It's one of those songs you'll listen to once and never want to hear again. But I don't think you'd regret those 3 minutes of your life that you gave to it. I think it'd add and enrich your life for a good 3 minutes. Even if it's just the kind of humour aspect. And you can compare and contrast that with the totally dour Doja Cat, who is totally humourless, gorgeous. It starts off nicely and kind of sexy, but hey, guess what? Suddenly the vibe switches, and instead of sexy, it turns into this aggy rap. It's horrible. I'm gonna have to get my editing scissors out again and surgically remove it from my copy of the tune, if I can be asked, that is. I might just delete the tune from my hard drive whatsoever. Don't need it. Zayn, well, he's yet another carbon copy male cookie cutter singer. Sounds like all the others on here. Really nothing special about it. I mean, the song's okay. It's quite a big sound. It's basic as hell, but it's kind of expansive, and I can imagine it's a nice crowd pleaser. So that is Zayn and Die For Me, which leaves us with, for the second time, Lewis Capaldi and The Day That I Die. Okay, well, I've got to say, and I'm sorry I'm talking all over it, but copyright and all, it's probably got the best vocals I've ever heard him do, the beginning of this. He really does have his own unique way of singing, unlike all the other guys on here, and I will say that for him. He's the odd one out in a good way. They all sound the same, and he sounds a bit different. He's more soulful, and it's kind of more organic in a way. This one takes ages before it really gets to the crescendo, which I like. As I've always said, and I say it less and less with every song, I used to say it all the time, he shouts too much. But he's scaling back the shouting. You got to wait for it. And when it does come in, it feels really well earned by that point. And you get a big rousing climax. So yet again, it's a big Lewis piano ballad. I'll be definitely listening out the window when he plays at Roundhay. See if I can hear this one drifting over the North Leeds suburbs. Well, it's only 40 songs, but that feels like a nice number. Yep, definitely enjoyed this one. I really have. I wasn't sure, as always, with some of the songs. But there's very few real stinkers on here. Probably only Lily, really. She's always good for copy, if you like. The second half, I think Sienna really is an interesting voice. Olivia Dean, great music. I think she'll grow into this stuff. I don't think she's quite there yet. No, not Skye, sorry. Lana Del Rey intrigued me. Role Model was great, apart from the silly rap. Noah Khan, good. Sam Fender, very, very good. And Elton. Ella Langley, I think my dad would like that one. Luke Combs, excellent. Chariot, meh. JP Cooper and Gabrielle, good. December 10, no. But, Teeny Bopper DMB, it's a thing, maybe. Miles Smith and Niall, Drive Safe. Cookie Cutter. Robbie, alright, not bad. Jessie Ware, I could get used to this, very, very good. Contender for Song of the Album. Holly Humberstone, surprisingly good, to Love Somebody. Cat's Eye, Internet Girl, for Selfie of the album. Doja Cat, humourless and dour, and an awful rap, so a bit aggressive with it. Zayn, Die For Me, adequate, but a bit meh. And this one, The Day That I Die. So that's a bit bad, isn't it? 2 songs about dying at the end. But, that's life, I suppose. Well, I really hope I'm back next time with 1, 2, 4. I will be. Whether they are remains to be seen. They could always just go back to 2 a year if 3's too many. I mean, the very first few nows were only 2 a year. In fact, now 1 was the only one from 1983. But now 84 had 3 a year. 85 only had 2 a year. 86 only had 2. 87 only had 2. And it was only back in 88 they went back to 3 a year. So, Anyway, that's that. Also, check out www.highway62.co.uk. Check out the YouTube. Make sure you sub. Some good music there that we are aiming to get on the future now. Watch this space. And as always, give us your feedback. I really want to know what you guys think. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.